Welcome to the stream. Let me check the calendar. It's Tuesday. I keep thinking today's Wednesday. It's not. It's Tuesday. Hope you're having a great one. I am here to definitively, we're going to finish Roottrees tonight. We're finishing Roottrees. And if I must abuse the hell out of the rubber duck? It is rubber duck. Then I will. Because we've already broken the seal. I've talked about this before in our last stream where we started using the power of the rubber duck. And I'm also tonight, I was so determined talking about we're finishing the Roottrees. And it's not like I was going to miss stream or anything, but I'm just overall pretty tired. Which means my brain is probably even functioning worse than normal. Which means we must duck. We're going to have to duck. But we're going to see the end of this one way or the other. You can let me know. Let me know how disappointed you are in me. I don't care. Things happen. You know what I mean? Things happen. Oh wait, it's not yet. Meow, meow, meow. I'm feeling the music though tonight for some reason. I might be tired, but the music is hitting. Here it comes. Is that the alto sax? I don't know what instrument it is. I would just guess that it's the alto sax. Or, I was gonna say, or joke name alto sex. But I pulled back. Okay. So yeah, let's finish the Roottrees tonight. Let's finish this Roottrees mania. Let's get this show on the road. Where did we end by the time obviously not bad, right? But yeah, we broke the thing was, I was thinking about it in the shower even this morning, because I knew I was going to stream Roottrees later tonight and stuff, and I was like, since I didn't use the duck at all in the beginning, first one, like, I didn't know how tempting the power of the duck was. But once you break the seal, maybe it's my, like, addictive, like, nature inherently, but, like, the duck is just, like, beckons you. Once you clicked it once, you're like, oh, I see how, I see how fun it could be to just get hints as to where I should be going now. So, that's what we're going to be doing. And everyone is going to love that I'm doing it. Trust. Alright. The thing is, we finished this branch. I mean, of course, there's apparently a picture of Suzanne Ford floating around somewhere. And her spouse's name somewhere. I don't know if the duck is even going to get that specific. The duck might just actually care about us getting, like, the main pictures. The real test will be once I've gotten this especially, and whatever this entails. I wonder if I've picked up enough that I'll know what the hell this was. Because I remember when the confidential whatever thing here on this one was, I sort of kind of knew based on the pictures I had. I was like, oh, clearly there was this guy in the background of, like, these photos. It ended up being this guy, this, right? But I was like, well, it's got to be, we have, like, a thing, right? But I don't know exactly where this is going to land now. Alright, let's go. Click the duck. What does he say? Quack, quack. Crocodile Clementine was involved in a tourist incident. Yes. Maybe you can find out more information about it somewhere. Okay, let's try. Crocodile Clementine. So obviously we know Crocodile Clementine is Mark here, involved in the incident with this picture. You know, let's leave that one up. That's pretty good. Maybe it's saying you can, since the duck is saying you can do it read about it, more information about it somewhere. I would assume maybe like, a certain periodical. What do they want me to do? Crocodile? How do you spell crocodile like C-I? Nope. I knew it looked off by me. I always say, what do I always say? My spelling's always bad. Oh, did I already first find a new thing? News Time did a small piece about a fight between Sims and Crocodile. We know of this fight, but tried to approach it from a different perspective. Their goal was to paint a picture of the two men involved from others who knew them best. Not only did they manage to interview Sims' wife, Carla, as well as multiple staff members at school, but they hunted down Colleen Webb, Mark's ex-wife. Alright, here we go. Wait. Oh, Mark's ex-wife. Ex-wife. Colleen Webb. Already off to a great start. I pulled According to the section with Colleen, she and he met when he worked for an airline. She worked in an airport newsstand. He was a drinker and would often have wild mood swings. When he was charged with assault of a fellow pilot in '75 and lost his job, they divorced. At the time, she was pregnant with their second daughter, and she felt she needed to get out before things got worse, dire. She left him and moved to San Diego to live with her sister and told her oldest that her dad had to fly planes for the army. She raised them both by herself, and although she never went through the trouble of changing their names legally, they used the Webb name so that nobody would connect them to her ex-husband. Okay. She left him and moved to San Diego to live with her sister. She... So I think what that's confirming is that they never legally changed their name from Clementine. She never went through the trouble of changing their names legally. They used the Webb name. So if I was to search for them, I would probably search whatever Webb, but in my actual tree, it would both be Clementine. Last name. I'm really leaning into I'm using one hand because I'm leaning on my armrest on my chair here. So I'm typing slow here. I'm typing with just fingers on the right hand. Okay, so something Clementine, 2 kids. Oldest gets married. I hate this track so much for some reason. I don't like how bassy it is. Okay, so I think I'm right in thinking this. Is that this is a hint for not only putting the name Clementine, but also when you search for however you're going to search for these kids, it's going to be whatever Webb. So, now we must figure out how to get the kids' names. And then, once we get the kids' names, then clearly we're going to be able to get what they're doing or photos of them, right? When he was charged with assault of a fellow pilot and lost his job, they divorced. At the time, she was pregnant with their second daughter. I'm going to just... what is this on-campus newspaper? What are the chances these kids are also kind of sleazy, so they're not afraid to publish a few details that more reputable news publications normally wouldn't. Look up the Billy Sims incident. It seems they did report on it, gain a few new bits of information that might not be useful. Billy Sims was once arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail at a company that was found to be testing their products on animals. Oh. Based, as the kids say. According to police paperwork, Crocodile Clementine's bail was paid for by Tostalorito Jacobson. It was fairly expensive. Who the hell is that? Why does that name look familiar for some reason? Did we... Piketty interviewed other students that were at the event to find out if they knew anything, and the word going around was that Mark Clementine showed up because his daughter Mary was graduating that night. Okay. We've already got it now. Mary's going to be the older one because at the time, timeline-wise, the, what's-her-face? Colleen was, when this incident happened, pregnant with the second child. So Mary Clementine don't fuck me with this, was graduating at the time. So we have that. Let us search Fuegos Fiesta, a regional Mexican fast food chain restaurant, held a competition in '93 that offered free meals for life to anyone that legally changed their name to Tostarito. It's like naming your... I'm gonna name myself Quesarito. The Tostarito was a burrito with a cylindrical tostada shell inside the flour tortilla. Yeah, so it's the idea of a concept of a quesarito. According to a few different sources, Tostarito Jacobson used to be named Lucinda. Okay. Lucinda? That name also sounds familiar for some reason. Lucinda Jacobson. Lucinda Jacobson is not going to come up anything else. Why would they have paid bail? Oh, was it from the first thing? There's from the first mystery? Edith Jacobson also mentions a Helen Roottrees and Lucinda. She was 18. Edith and her sister Lucinda were arrested for trespassing at the Miracle. Oh! She was a trespasser. Wait, Lucinda... Does my brain remember that I remember this article from the first one where there was a person sneaking in? I'm gonna just search everything. But clearly... But why would they why would... Why is this a relevant thing is what I'm coming at. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a thing that then ties... Because, okay, so if she is related... She was the sister of the person that ended up getting... Here, right? So sister of Edith then ended up coming back down here and paying bail for this guy? Maybe just because of the miracle tie? Is that all that is then? Just a weird little nod? Like, do I do anything else with that information? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now what I was saying, if we're searching for Mary Clementine, we're going to search for Mary Webb since they used the name. Yep. I was such a small thing, but it made me feel so smart that I pieced that together so quickly. I mean, it was basically just it was told to us, but I got it. And Mary Webb in San Diego has a website called Webb on the Web. Apparently, it's a personal travel diary that also doubles as an advertisement for a travel agency. There are descriptions of Mary's services, including booking flights and cruises. Almost all of them involve extremely niche audiences. Seems Mary is the #1 agent when it comes to booking spiritual vacations aboard ghost ships and in specific hotel rooms that are said to be haunted. She also has a dedicated section for more traditional modern cruises that cater to specific groups, such as fans of boy bands. In the diary entry, she talks about the trip she's personally taken and uses that as an opportunity to feature descriptions of amenities and excursions that ships offer, even when you're on them to see a specific band or a ghost. A ghost, I always say. There's also pictures of ships, hotels, landmarks, and places she's visited, as well as pictures of Mary herself, the ship, in the background. Whenever diary entries actually mentions that day, the day that the photos are taken, she was allowed onto the ship on a port in San Diego to professional photographers she knows. Photo of Mary has been added to your evidence. Let's see a picture. Mary Webb from a website, Webb on the Web, paranormal travel agency. She's apparently found niche booking vacations for lovers of the strange and unknown. It's a photograph of Mary in front of an alleged ghost ship from the 1800s. It was lost at sea and turned up without any crew several years later. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but fans love to tour and come up with their own paranormal theories. A company called Corporate Composition Photography is listed on the top left. Give me your photo. So what was the whole thing? It was, found a niche booking vacations for lovers. What's that job? What do we call that? You are a travel agent then, yeah? You're a travel agent. Corporate Composition Photography is a photography studio that was listed on a few different sites for businesses in San Diego. It seems to have been possible to hire them to take professional quality photos for business of all sorts. As far as you can tell, it appears to no longer exist. The company also mentioned on photograph site some IRC chat logs. Ooh, IRC chat logs. It seems like the site is a personal page of a member of an IRC photography channel. They have archives of logs they've been saving since '93. One of them was from '96 when Val, the former head photographer from Corporate Composition Photography, did a Q&A with their users about taking pictures for promotional materials and print ads. Most of the question and answers are pretty technical. They not only seem irrelevant, but generally go over your head. One of the questions, however, mentions that Val was on the cover of Telephoto and asks about Iraq. The question was quickly shut down by the person running the Q&A, who said Val does not wish to answer any questions from his photojournalism days, nor does he wish to talk about LPB. Please keep this on the subject of commercial photography. Okay, we're definitely gonna, yeah. She was allowed on the ship on a port day and sent it with a professional photographer she knows. The photo of Mary has been added to your evidence. The professional photographer she knows is, I would assume, Val, then. Is Val this guy? Is there going to be a... that's feeling like this is where this is heading, potentially, but... Telephoto's a photography magazine. Great. Okay. Okay, we're going things. I got one little push from the duck, and now we're running. This is the most ideal situation, I think, for us right now. Tonight. I get one little nudge from the duck, and then I'm like, boom. You know? We're off to the races. Mentions that Val is on the cover of Telephoto and asks about Iraq. One of the questions mentions he was on the cover of Telephoto and asks about Iraq. The question was quickly shut down by the person running the Q&A. talk about LPB. LPB. What if I did a quick... What if I did a quick... When searching for LPB, you get a wide variety of results. LPB, Little Big Planet. Seems like it can stand for Lebanese pound, also known as the lira, lower back pain, lead-based paint, low blood pressure, Louisiana Board of Pharmacy, Long Beach Peninsula. Some businesses also have the acronym LPB. Research, Lynch Building Plastics, Luxury Bridal Photography, Lexington Business Payroll, Lincoln Baby Photography, Lures Bras and Panties, Logline Books and Publishing. I feel like I gotta search all of these, yeah? Like, what's the worst that could happen? It's a pretty serious problem. One recommendation seems pretty useful to you. When you're sitting in front of a computer for hours doing genealogy research, it's recommended you try to sit with good posture. Additionally, standing up and stretching once in a while could be useful as long as you don't strain yourself. Hello, hello. Long Beach Peninsula. Going pretty well, going pretty well. Not too bad. Keep thinking it's Wednesday. Excuse me, Wednesday when it's only Tuesday. Hope the game doesn't frustrate me too much. Nah, never, dude. Never. How could it? Luxury Bridal Photography is a photography business, which is a good start. Unfortunately, it seems like it's located in Ireland, and its owner is named Nicholas. He goes by Nick Luxury, but you doubt that's his real name. It's very unlikely it's related. That's pretty good. Boo, 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 boo. Aha! Aha! Lincoln Baby Photography seems like a solid lead, as it mentions a Val, an award-winning photographer, on the page. It's a business in Beacon, New York, and on the site is a picture of a baby and a camera captioned with Cam Lincoln reaching for his namesake. Guess he takes after his father, Val. At the bottom, the website says copyright 1998-99. Picture's been added to evidence. Huge. Okay, let me finish. We already. I gotta search the bras and panties, honestly. How do you think this would relate to your search exactly? Damn it. I'm thorough. Don't worry about it. Logline is a small publisher in California that does limited edition runs of movie scripts. None of their books seem related to your search. One of them is a big screen adaptation of a puzzle game, Fog. 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 I want to get back to... Because we got a periodical. I know we got a piece of evidence, but I want to... Telephoto. Magazine focus on photography and photographers. Do I... Val... So would it be Val Lincoln then? Is this just going to be... Val Lincoln. And then if I go... Val Lincoln. Cam Lincoln reaching for his namesake. I would assume he's reaching for the camera. He's named Cam. There we go. Val Lincoln was featured in telephoto cover, featured one of his photos, as well as a portion of the article have been added to your evidence. Now we're doing shit. Now we're getting things. We're going things. We're breaking it down. Oh god, ugly baby. Oh, it's an ugly baby. You found this image of the Lincoln Baby photography website. It's labeled as Cam Lincoln, Richard's names. Okay. This is unsettling. Put it on the board. Put the baby on the board. That's Cam Lincoln. And definitively, we can put that baby moniker down. Huge. I am curious, what is this going to be? Telephoto. Huh. Val Lincoln's War on War. Telephoto is a photography magazine. This 92 issue focused on the photos of Val Lincoln, a photographer who went overseas during Desert Storm. He won the Sepia Award for photojournalism, specifically for the photo of the cover. Hopefully we figure out where this is going to... Val got a start in high school when he took a photography class because, in his own words, he couldn't decide what else to do and thought it would be the best career in the world to shoot for Playboy. But he quickly found he had a knack for it and began to skip lunch and his free period to spend most of his time in the darkroom. After graduating, he tried to pivot to landscape photography but didn't have any passion for it. I work much better when I'm trying to tell the story of a person or an object. He got lucky when a photographer mentor of his who was going overseas to cover the war decided to take a chance on him. Take a chance on me! Most people wouldn't call it lucky to go at an active war zone for no pay, but he bought the plane tickets, all my meals, and even pulled some strings so we could rush my passport. For someone that had never had a real job or even left California, it was a hell of a break. Val was only 19 at the time. Shot the photo that won him an award the third night he was there. The photo depicts Lisa Clementine, which then probably got him to meet his then person that he ended up marrying. Lisa Clementine, who lost an arm in Operation Desert Saber. According to the article, women were not subject to direct combat, and Lisa wasn't a vehicle at the time. The vehicle had to pull over suddenly when the road ahead was partially destroyed, and she had a fellow soldier were severely injured by a landmine. Val says, I ran to Lisa just after her surgery and took this picture. Then, until she shipped out, I kept finding excuses to go back and take more pictures of her. Guess it was fate, because that's the photo that won me an award, got me into your magazine, and also led to my engagement. Right. Just earlier this week, she agreed to become Mrs. Lincoln. Okay. Lisa. Now, what do we call this? Are we military? We're just straight up militarying. We're militarying. All right. Honestly, I got, like I said, Duck gave me one little, like, the smallest nudge of, like, hey, you might want to read about a thing from it. And I got a lucky pull on a periodical, and we got all this by myself. I didn't have to abuse the Duck necessarily that much already. I mean, I'm patting myself on the back. Fuck it. Now, it's the dreaded first infidelity. Where, infamously, maybe, last stream, I was starting to put some Chinese members over here, thinking it was because, and really, I don't think my logic was flawed necessarily. I think my heart was in the right place. Because we had so many Chinese names popping around that I was like, oh, it would make sense maybe then if the game is giving us so many names to populate this thing. And then, like, he went to China because there was already maybe, like, a Chinese connection in his family kind of thing. Now, just like this, I'm probably going to need a Duck to give me a push. Just the smallest of push somewhere, because I have no then other information on any of the people here. Other than the one thing about the Elizabeth. The Beth comment. Which is not much. If you knew Lisa Clementine's occupation, you could probably place her on the tree. Wait, I did. Are you telling me that that's wrong? Wait. Wait. If this is... I'm not mixing up the older and the younger thing again, am I? I mean, based on what the duck is saying, I think these are supposed to be reversed. But I thought the whole thing was that Mary... Let me find... I'm gonna find the thing that made me think Mary was... Okay, here, let me see this. When he was charged with assault with a fellow pilot, they divorced. At the time, she was pregnant with their second daughter, and she felt she needed to get out before things got worse. She left him and moved to San Diego to live with her sister, told her oldest that her dad had to fly planes for the Army. She raised them both by herself, and although she never went the trouble... So the oldest, probably that thing about the Army, led her to do... But... One sec. No, there was something. And the word going around was that Mark Clementine showed up because his daughter Mary was graduating that night. Mary was graduating that night. But I'm so... Oh, it's the creepy music again. Right during my confusion. Oldest to youngest. Oldest. Mary graduating. But what is she pregnant? Am I misreading? Okay, what part of this am I misreading? If they're all talking about the same incident, right? Where the guy got into a fight with the Sims guy. This guy got in a fight with Sims. I thought the incident, they said they were the wife, Colleen, was pregnant with the second. And if you're pregnant with the second, it wouldn't be the Mary being the second, wouldn't be the one being married, being graduating. Do I just have the photos mixed, or do I just have the names mixed? This is definitely Lisa. And he definitely married Lisa, because this is implying. So I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know how I fucked that up. I must not be, my brain must be too stupid to process. She was pregnant with... Let me look at this one more time. Maybe that's not what I meant to do. It could be, okay, one of two things. One, I'm not fully understanding why. Or two, maybe they fucked up. I mean, it seems like a fucked up thing for the game to do, but is it that, like, this is wrong? Like, whoever said this is just wrong? Because Piketty is a bad source, and they're like, oh, they mixed up the name? But it's definitely saying Val married Lisa. But then the duck hint is still there. That doesn't... What did I... What do you mean? Yeah, I know. Okay, so I know the whole thing about... the game. Okay. Yes, I know it'd be Lisa Webb. Lisa Webb. But... Oh, man, now I'm... Many women change their surnames. Oh, Lisa, fucking, what's his name? Fucking, Lisa Lincoln. Lincoln Logs. But wait, okay, something fucky is going on. Something, I was so high. Something fucky is going on. Lisa Lincoln is, according to Miller website, you find an amputee lost a lamb in Desert Storm. She runs a support group for fellow veterans in Beacon, New York. She makes another appearance listed as a professor at West Point, a military college. She teaches classes contribute to their environmental engineering major. Oh, is it just the fact that she's not in military anymore, obviously? That would actually make some sense. Her short biography on the staff page mentions that she had a passion for the military from a very young age, due to erroneously believing that a family member was an Air Force pilot, her dad. I'm adding that. While she later learned that to be untrue, her passion remained, and she joined ROTC in high school. From there, she enlisted. After returning from Desert Storm, she earned her degree and relocated to West Point to teach a few years ago. So she's a professor now. So maybe okay. Maybe I should have thought that she wouldn't obviously still be military. Thanks, Duck. Send me on... Okay, but I don't know something about the... This obviously makes sense. He married her. But I don't get then the bit about Colleen saying she was still pregnant when the incident happened. But then... I don't know. I don't know anything. You have enough information to fill in Mark Clementine's younger daughter. Don't fuck with me! Don't! No! I got this! This is right. Don't... Wait a second. Okay, wait. There's too much going on. I'm overstimulated. Wait, why did I put Val? Oh my god. Why did I put Val there? I was mixing back the names and I think I just thought... Shut up, Duck. That doesn't count against me. That doesn't count against me. Because I had already had her name, Mary. And then I put Val. I was just re-swapping the names. Oh my god. Can we, please, Duck, can we focus over here? Over here, please. Grandorf Dove. Grandorf Dove? Dove. That's, that was the place where, Suzanne Ford works. Is it helping me get this or another picture of here? There's no way in hell it's going over here, right? Let me, I'm just copying this. It'll be easier than trying to spell it. We've already had this page. But it says you can read about it somewhere else. Definitely Teen Blast. Was a school for the deaf near Butler and was regularly listed in articles with other local schools. Butler County Times archives includes what seems like an endless list of snow cancellations, extracurricular activities, and weekend events that began over 70 years ago and stretched until the last mentioned 90. Amongst the avalanche of useless information, you almost miraculously discover one useful article. Grandorf Dove was at the center of a crime article from 1982. Seems that someone defaced the school in vehicles outside the brand new Hudson wing of the school. There were multiple broken windows, and one of the teacher's cars was painted with profanities and accusations of infidelity. Lovely. A few weeks later, a follow-up article provides more details. There was one arrest, Thomas Hughes, who was coincidentally a former student at the school. Apparently, the destruction came weeks after he married the school's newest teacher, Mrs. Hughes. She was not a teacher when he went. He graduated a few years earlier. Wait. There was one arrest who was coincidentally a former student, Thomas Hughes. Destruction came weeks after he married the school's newest teacher, Mrs. Hughes. She was not a teacher when he went. He graduated a few years earlier. According to the reporter's investigation into the police reports, trials, and restraining orders, Mr. Hughes was convinced that he was not the father of Mrs. Hughes' current pregnancy. He was released on bail, and the school has agreed not to press criminal charges after an agreement was made to pay for the damages and for the couple to begin the divorce proceedings. It seems Thomas Hughes, Mrs. Hughes, and the Hudson wing have all avoided further appearances. Hughes. So I think this is just placing... Well... No... I mean, maybe that would be a reason why they split up, but that would be... Okay, I think I get what's going on. Was her... She probably had the name... She is probably Suzanne Hughes. She probably had Hughes as a last name for a bit while they were together. And then what it's talking about is at some point he got pissed because of the potential infidelity thing here that ended up taking place. I think that's what that is. And the confusion comes from it just being her listing as Mrs. Hughes, the newest teacher. And I bet timeline-wise this all shakes out, right? 1982. And with the inclusion of the brand new Hudson wing. Yeah. I believe... I want to try to find her extra picture. If I go like Suzanne Hughes. It's a Hail Mary. That was not working, but okay. We got that. Smart. Now, Duck, can we please crack open this first infidelity? I'm begging. You should look into the author of Family Man. I should look into the author of Family Man. Oh, wait a second. Family Man. Family Man. Do I have a... By Bess Williams. Oh, shit. Bess, not Beth? Is there a Bess? And that one person said she thought she heard about Beth? Bess Williams? There's a setting I could turn on. What is the setting? Bess Williams was an author born in the late 1800s. What's the older one? She lived just outside of Miami and died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1926. Bess has a minor history with the Roottrees. Her only notable book, Family Man, is widely considered blatant propaganda about Elias Roottrees. It had been all but forgotten until recently, when it was re-released during the during the height of Roottree mania. There's a site dedicated to hurricane statistics that also mentions Bess Williams. The Boca d'Oro Library, not far from where she lived, was partially destroyed in the hurricane. When they rebuilt, they named the nonfiction section after her. The library was expanded again in 1950 and then closed in 1963 when multiple larger libraries opened in the surrounding area that made it redundant. Bulk periodical search? I assume like it would just check everything. Oh, search all for periodicals. No, I'm fine. I can see why that's helpful, but like, I would rather, even though I know I've already done the duck thing, but like, I would rather purposely like have to be like try to nail down which periodical I'm like actually trying to find a thing on. At least a little bit. Try myself, like force myself to try to like, and then at the very least, if I fail at that, then I'll just go and click through everything and see if something pops. So I'm good. But thank you for the recommendation. Bess Williams. Okay, so she lived. Okay, so my working theory right now is she wrote a puff piece on this guy, specifically mostly because there was potential infidelity here. And that the earlier thing at the very beginning when it's like, oh, I thought we were talking about a Beth secretary. Maybe it was a Bess. Maybe? What's the time frame on it? 1926? She was an author born in the late 1800s. She lived just outside Miami and died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck 26. So like 18 years after the founding of the place, of the thing, of the company, I guess I should say. Boca d'Oro Library. I'm not 100% confident yet. So Bess has a minor history. Her only notable book, Family Man, is widely considered blatant propaganda. It's all but forgotten. So would she not then be considered a secretary? The Boca d'Oro Library no longer exists. You find multiple libraries in the area. According to the website for library systems in Miami, the building where it once sat is now the Miami Print Museum. Searching for the Miami Print Museum, you come across the website, states their hours and list of exhibits. The building is very small. Admission is free and they only have room for a few different displays. On one of the exhibits is their courtyard, which includes a fountain as well as a statue of an unknown author. The picture has been added to your evidence. Another is a printing press that was used by the Miami Sunday, now defunct weekly newspaper. Last is the original print of Cuba by Cubans, an art book. Dang, am I going to be using a statue face? This is a statue in front of the Miami Print Museum, formerly a Boca d'Oro Library, north of Miami. It sits on the courtyard and corner of the site, said to be of an unknown author. Damn! Damn, Elias Roottrees had sex with a statue. That's crazy. Okay, I'm willing to go then. I'm willing to take the steps. And the duck will yell at me if I'm wrong, right? That's basically what we're... I would say she was an author then when she died, probably. If she wrote the book, it said she only had one book, but like... Tragic. Tragic. Do I have Lauren's diary in this one? Or just in general? I don't think I picked it up in this, right? Oh, wait. Yeah, I did. This? They're still... Oh, because this probably hasn't locked in. Shoot do do. Gwyneth has a lisp. Oh, so then Gwyneth, when she says Beth, it would be best. It's best for Beth. Oh, that's smart. Damn, a double thing. Oh shit. That's smart. That makes a lot more sense. I was just going over like the misheard route because she was like, oh, I thought I heard her saying Beth, but like since you're just overhearing conversation, maybe you just slightly mix up the name, but that makes a lot more sense. But then that's kind of fucked up because then you're saying, I don't know. I mean, I get it for the puzzleness of it, the trickiness of it all, but if you're recounting a story, even if you're saying, if someone has a clear, obvious lisp, and so it's like, if you're recounting something someone said who has a lisp, you probably wouldn't include the lisp unless you make it clear that you're talking about the lisp beforehand. So then when you're recounting it, you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm pretty sure I heard him say this. Whatever. Whatever. All right, so what did the statue and Elias get what did they get to, and how did they make a child? Just out of curiosity here. Book of Paintings of Cuba released in 1963. It's created Marcia Barban. First glance doesn't seem related to your search in any way. At first glance? Okay. The Miami Sunday seems... Oh. Oh. You find a small website about quirky printing history facts that mentions that the Miami Mercury Sunday was the outcome of merging two smaller failing newspapers. This resulted in one larger failing newspaper, which only notable to the author because by combining the names in the way they did, it was titled the longest title for an American newspaper at the time, with a newspaper in Jefferson, Texas. Damn. Wait, Doc, I'm done. This is what I was doing. You want information on events from before the merger. Well. What do you mean? Wait. So the Miami Sunday merged into the Miami Mercury Sunday. But that was short-lived. You want information on events from before the merger. So it would just be would it be just the Miami Mercury? Or the Mercury? Or... what are... Because once you merge... I don't know how naming conventions work. Ah! You had to go the other way around. The Miami Mercury is a now defunct newspaper that merged with the Miami Sunday. The resulting newspaper, Miami Mercury Sunday, went out of business. It seems at some point during the process it was at least partially archived, available via your periodical search. Okay, so I'm going to assume that if this lady was Miami bound, or Miami based, that this is where we're going to hopefully find the threads here to pull to find all of this. Kids. Things of that nature. Kids. Things of that nature. Alright, so let's just start with the first. Had an article about the Bess Williams section in Boca Raton Library when it was being built in 28. It mentions that Bess's young son, now an orphan, was in attendance during the dedication. Okay. So, young son, now an orphan. Also had a letter. It also had a later mention from 49 last year the paper existed about a bidding war for a planned expansion of the library in 50. The bidding war was won by Wildcat Construction, included a new statue found in a second room that would double its shelf count. Wildcat Construction was mentioned once in an article you've already seen about the expansion of the Boca Raton Library. It was also mentioned earlier in 47 under the headline, Constructing a Better World. Frank Wildcat Williams left Florida in 41, a construction worker, and returned a hero. He won the Navy Cross for his bravery and sacrifice, having carried a fellow soldier's safety under heavy Nazi fire. Now he and his wife, Ophelia, are carrying his fellow soldiers through tough times at home. This has got to be her son. Wildcat Construction is Frank's company, focused on getting opportunities for soldiers finding difficulty getting back to normal. Ophelia has handled outreach to the wives of local veterans, who are often able to provide insight into the husband's needs and conditions. She has, though, through such outreach, found 13 veterans of the war to serve as Frank's employees. Community support has been unendingly and overwhelmingly positive. It has gotten to the point where Frank bids on a project, other local companies have decided to step back and let the soldiers handle it. This has become a bit of a sore spot for local politicians and business owners, as the bids are often not as low as they expected. The problem for them is that essentially Frank is a selective monopoly, but any attempt to circumvent it has caused an uproar and an accusation of being un-American. It's uncertain what will become of Wildcat Construction, but at least for now we're rooting for them. Okay, so let's start. So we have an Ophelia. We have a Frank Williams in construction. I would assume it's probably still construction. And I'm gonna, for a picture, I'm gonna go to... I thought maybe we'd find picture. We need a picture of this man, Frank Wildcat Williams. There we go. He's listed on a few different military history websites. He was awarded Navy Cross Medal in World War II, and the story goes that even after being struck in the arm with a bullet, he managed to carry a fellow soldier through enemy territory on his shoulders for over 2 miles. He died in 96, age 74, in a retirement community in Sweetwater, Florida. An obituary on the website of a local news channel that was written by a surviving family also sheds light on some of his personal life. He grew up an orphan because his family died in a hurricane when he was very young. He could barely remember his mother and had no memory of his father. After the war, he ran a construction company that mainly hired World War II veterans did a lot of jobs in and around the greater Miami area. He was a born joker and a shining light to those veterans who needed it most. An anecdote mentioned that he used to insist he married his wife Ophelia as a matter of courtesy and convenience. She wouldn't have to change her last name. Convenient. so convenient. I continue. A photo is attached of Frank in his youth juggling hammers in front of one of his construction sites, as he was often known to do. According to the article, he's survived by Ophelia, as well as his daughters, Barb and Sharon. Barb and Sharon. Barb and Sharon? They adopted one of them. Barb and Sharon. Why do I always think last name is there? Is it because I think of last name being listed as like... Alright, give me the photo of them. Wow, look at him go! He's hammer juggling. He's juggling hammers on a construction site. Crazy. Look at that man go. Nice. Okay. Here we go. We're breaking through here. We're breaking free. We're soaring, flying. Now, Barb and Sharon Williams. Barb. We'll just search both of them. Barb Williams is a motivational speaker, and she has a website that explains the services she offers. Our company's address listed as in Coconut Grove, Florida. Flyer's been added to your evidence. Holy shit, 5 things here? Barb Williams advertised her career as a motivational speaker online. This flyer includes 3 different testimonials from Greta Jones from WQTV 12, Vic Elmsworth from the Kikkiwa Falls Gazette, and Isabel Crosby, superintendent of Benton County. Overcoming adversity. Her story will surprise you, uplift you, then energize you. A lesson that anyone can take something away from. An intimate evening with a truly wonderful message. Book Barb for corporate retreats, church events, or even school assemblies. She can customize her message for any audience. Any audience, dude. So she's a motivational speaker, I would assume. Also, and maybe I'm jumping to a bad conclusion, I think that makes this Barb, because she was adopted, guardianship somehow. So I would assume the easiest thing to point to is the adversity. Part of the adversity you would track that to is maybe not having your parents. Public speaker, motivational speaker, public speaker. I'm heavily assuming this photo gets, because she was so in the background of this photo. I assume that's has to do with this. What did my note will say? Something's going on there. Okay, so we got Barbara Williams. We got her as a public speaker. There she is. Which would then make this the other one. Sharon. And there's allegedly 2 photos out there. But how do we get Sharon Williams' info? Vic Elmsworth, according to his own personal page, is apparently one of 3 brothers. All 3 of them are contributors to a newspaper called the Kikkiwa Falls Gazette. It tends to focus more on the southeastern United States. All the articles he's written are archived on his site, including a long-form version of the review for Barbara Williams' motivational show. Sorry, I'm coughing a lot. Okay. According to Victor, he had seen Barb talk more than once. On this, I might need to go get some water here. On this particular occasion, Barb's talk was at a very large church, and it was clear she was an expert at matching the presentation of her concepts for any particular crowd, because she received a standing ovation. Barb started with a story about loss, specifically the loss of a bicyclist who had been hit by a car. She spoke about the death of any person as a darkness in their loved ones. She spoke about the death of any person as a darkness in their loved ones, a cold, empty void that begins to creep into space where there was once light. Because the light could never return exactly how it once was, she says the only option is to nurture a new source of light to help fight back the darkness. Her conclusion was that finding the hidden meanings in tragedy is the most important thing we can do. She used multiple biblical comparisons and finished by looping back around to her initial story and how she personally began to come around to this ideology. The biker who died was her son-in-law. Ooh. And the Lanes Across America charity was created to fill the newfound darkness her daughter experienced. The charity, was a light that began to fill the void, and she was doing everything she could to help nurture it. Wait. Okay. Okay. I wanna... Before I get too far away from this, I want to search this name before... Okay, that's fine then. Biker who died was her son-in-law. This is where we get into the point where I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know how. I feel like a complete idiot. I don't understand the diagramming part here. I don't understand what's going on here. I don't understand the diagramming. Because I'm a straight fool. Me don't understand how family trees work. Okay, I mean, I just don't want to move. I know my next bet is probably to go here. Lanes Across America, or LAA, is a charity focused on adding bike lanes to major cities. The pages of news articles I mentioned Lanes Across America has a similar summary in them. LAA, formerly LAM, was founded in 1907 after the death of Drew Smith. Drew was biking home from work when he was hit by a car. Each year since, Lanes Across America has grown, and they now have offices in over 12 major metropolitan areas, including Miami, where the charity began. So it was formerly Lanes Across Miami, obviously. Website for the charity has a picture of Drew. Photo has been added to your evidence. Okay. Drew. Now I'm even feeling less confident necessarily about this. Does son-in-law mean this is Drew? And her spouse used to be with this person, and this is the son in... Well, no. No, I don't know. Son-in-law... I don't know anything. I might as well just be, let me see this guy. Oh, look at that mullet he's rocking though. A partial wedding photo from the website for a charity called Lanes Across America. The rest of the wedding party is cropped out. The charity is founded after the death of Drew Smith, who was featured in the photo. Okay, let me think about this. The biker who died was her son-in-law. So, son-in-law would be here. It would be pulled from a different marriage. Is that what it is? So she didn't have with her spouse. Her spouse pulled in a son the spouse had with this other person. And so this son did not come from her. That's what it's saying. Yeah? Yeah? Question mark? Yeah? That's stepson? Okay. Yep, that's a good point. Son-in-law. So son-in-law would be... What the fuck? Son-in-law... That's a stepson. Son-in-law. Son-in-law would be like, I had a child. Oh! I forgot there was a movie called Son-in-Law that I think I have seen in my life, and it was really bad. Okay. I'm gonna probably just take that whole part out of the VOD. Trust me, because I'm gonna start saying it here, and it's gonna sound very smart. So a son-in-law is like when you have a daughter, and then she marries someone, and then they're only 1 degree away from you, but they're not related. But they're in that that degree. Okay. Now here's the the next follow-up stupid sounding thing. I don't know what this diagram means. What the hell does this mean? Where this married, right? 2 children. What is this then? What is this? What is all this? What is this? Why does this throw me off? Why does a simple little extra little knob like confuse me? Like, if I'm still looking at this, and I'm trying to place a son-in-law... I'd be there, not here, there. Spouse to... I don't understand. Should I not be as confused? Am I overthinking this? Is it... If I have a son-in-law... hit by a car... Why does this tree look so stupid? It's not my fault. It's the tree's fault. But what? I don't understand. I don't understand this diagram here. This box makes no sense to me. Everything else is like neat and like presented in a clear fashion. This is all kinds of fucked up. Like, by process of elimination, it wouldn't make sense to put him here. It wouldn't make sense to put him here or here. So then you have only 2 options. Now, my thinking is here because there's a spouse and his son. It's talking about son-in-law. But you wouldn't have it here. This to this would be not a son-in-law. Right? But then why is it like this? Then if I put him here, right? What is his name? Drew Smith. What a boring name. If I put this like here, let's just visually. I'm not logging it in. I'm just saying visually. Where is then the person-in-law that would then be marrying to make this him, her son-in-law? Here? Then why is it like this? Why is this here? But that wouldn't be right because this is the children, the spawn of these 2 people. So what is this then? New theory. Am I just thrown off because this is built bad? Should I just mentally like turn this like 90 degrees and it would look just like this? Like this? Is it just like, I think that, okay, I think I am overthinking it. I think this is the 3rd child. Okay. I think it's just built weird. For some reason, I think my mind is like deciphering it now as I'm talking it out. I think what it means, parent 1, parent 2, child 1, son-in-law, child 1, marries, dies, 2 other children, right? To fill the newfound darkness her daughter faced. This daughter. Because obviously that would be the darkness. Your husband dies. Then 2 other children. Okay. I think we're fine. There was momentary panic. But I think we've got this. And everything is good. Now I searched lanes across America, right? Lanes across America. What happens if I search Miami? Miami. Ah. Searching for lanes across Miami does narrow down. A fun fact, I was born in Miami, obviously. Austin lore. Does narrow down the pages and pages of articles you found earlier to only those were, does narrow down the pages and pages of articles you found earlier to only those with a more in-depth history about the charity. Find some additional information. Lamb was formed in 87 and became law in 94. It was founded by Sharon Smith after the death of her husband. It was founded by Sharon Smith. Sharon? Did her husband die the same way this guy died? Is that potential? If Sharon Smith is... Sharon and some other board members stepped down in 92 and the current leadership took over. One of the oldest articles has a full uncropped version of the same wedding photo from the LAA website. Seems that after Sharon left LAM, they began to crop her and the rest of her wedding party out of the photo to focus solely on Drew, who is the face of the charity. The full photo has been added to your inventory. Wait. Sharon Smith? Andrew Smith. Sharon Smith. No, it's saying Sharon. Does she name her child Sharon after Sharon up here? That's what it's saying. That's what it's saying. I was about to say, that's crazy if there's 2... Same wedding photo from the LA website. It seems that after Sharon left, they began to crop her out of the photo to focus solely on Drew. But of course, we wouldn't put Sharon Smith on here. We would just put Sharon, whatever the spouse's name is. Most likely. Oh. Uncropped wedding photo from an old article about lanes across America. Boom, 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 boom. So it's a wedding party. So that's probably... It's probably the 4 of them, yeah? You probably have your sister and your brother in a wedding party kind of thing. kind of thing, right? Kind of. I need to know. I need to find the name of the spouse here. Because go back to this. Greta Jones is, according to Fly, in her possession the morning news anchor for a channel called That. Unfortunately, that has no online web presence whatsoever. You do find it listed on giant list television call signs next to the city Springfield under the heading Effingham County. You may need to do a deeper dive on a specific city and state to see if any locals have discussed the news in that area. What is that last line trying to get me to do? You may need to do a deeper dive on a specific city and state. Part of me is thinking, does that just mean... Yeah. Springfield, Illinois, then. Wait. Wait. What does the game... What do you want to do? Springfield, Georgia. When you find your search to television in and around Springfield, Georgia, you come across a website that lists different channels available there. They seems to only feature broadcasts with female news anchors. Person who runs websites ranked each using 3 categories, none are relevant to journalism. One of the entries is channel 12. The news anchor list is Greta Flores. Wait, did I already... Is this the name that I'd already... Greta Flores is a news anchor who apparently used to go by Greta Jones before her divorce. Compared to the ordeal you've gone through to simply figure out her current name, it's way easier than you expect to find that she has a website of her accomplishments. She was apparently the MC for an all-female speaking tour in '77. Tour was called Storytellers of Sisterhood, the Mothers and Daughters of Earth. You do a search for it, and it seems some of the stories are compiled into a book simply titled 25 Stories of Sisterhood by Isla Hale. Oh. This is an anthology of stories told on a few different Storytellers of Sisterhood tours. Contains direct transcripts of the most well-received stories on stage. Isla Hale is the editor, not the sole author. One of the stories, by Barb Williams, has been added to your evidence. Barb. Barb. The Beauty and the Brat. What a title. Okay. This is where we might get our stuff here. Barb Williams had a transcript of a story she told on stage, published in a book. First part of her story focused on 2 16-year-old girls. My sister, Sherry, was a brat. My sister, Sherry? Sharon? Damn. Okay. Always sulking. often disobedient, never on time. She borrowed things without asking and even ran away from home only to sneak back the next day like nothing had changed. My daughter, Sharon, on the other hand, was a beautiful person. She had excellent marks in school, was intensely artistic and creative, even volunteered at an animal rescue. She continues to tell stories of the two girls until she shifts the narrative. What was the difference between Sherry the brat and Sharon the beauty? Is it nature, nurture, better education, different opportunities? The answer is nothing. There was no difference because my sister and my daughter are the same girl. Whoa! Barb reveals that her daughter was the result of an unexpected pregnancy when she was only 15. I met a boy at a county fair. Her daughter was the result of an unexpected pregnancy when she was only 15. Okay. I met a boy at a county fair. Unlike us, he lived in the nice part of town. He went to the good school. To a teenage girl, it felt like a fairy tale, but there was boxes all over his house. He was moving in 3 days. Those 3 days were heaven to me. The final night, he surprised me. He told me he could actually see me again soon. He planned to return to visit his grandparents. I thought I was giving him a reason to keep his promise. I never saw him again, and when I finally got desperate enough to ask around, a friend of a friend told me he hadn't even given me his real last name. No! Barb also talks about when she found out she was pregnant. I was convinced my life was over. But my parents, they took charge. I had to live at home and work a part-time job, but they removed the burden of motherhood. I managed to scrape out a degree in English, and as far as my daughter was concerned, I was her much older sister. Oof. Huh. Drama. Barb uses the story to come to a conclusion. When I was younger, I thought my sister was the brat, and I wasn't wrong. But she ran away from home to work at that animal shelter. She borrowed my clothes for presentations at school. And her creativity allowed her to open up Sherry's hair. It took me far too long to realize the beauty was always there too. In fact, the brat and the beauty exist in all of us. It was my inner brat that kept me blind to the truth. I like to say it's the beauty in me. It's finally able to see what I was missing. I implore you to call upon the beauties in yourself whenever the brat tries to take hold. There's a Sherry's Hair in Orlando. The owner of the business says Sherry Yastrzeminsky. Sherry has a large van, and on weekends can bring the style of Brittany, Christina, or even the Rachel to your door. How fun. The About Sherry section is very, very long, presented as one paragraph with multiple run-on sentences and no pictures. You get the sense that if she were to do your hair, she'd be doing a lot of talking. She mentions that her husband, Pete, was her late husband's college roommate. She and he had never spent any significant time together until she became a widow, and they built a charity together. They left the charity behind because it was growing beyond their ability to run it. She also brags about her kids, Tony, Mark, and Cricket. Her oldest, Tony, seems to get the short end of the stick. His two listed accomplishments are that he's the oldest, and he's a straight-A student. Mark, on the other hand, has multiple baseball accomplishments listed. Apparently his little league team is nationally recognized. Okay, something... Yeah, we gotta switch these up. It's 100% clear now. It's 100% clear now. Let's do the work. Let's do the work. No, it's something that I thought was a possibility because I was so quick to put, like, switch these. I was so quick to put, because my assumption was the Guardian thing, and then that's where we ended up. The adversity, yeah. This makes now a lot more sense. The Guardian of Sharon, because she had a kid, Sharon, and then the parents, what we just read was that. Okay, so, here we go. Let's do this smart. I just want to make sure I don't fuck this up. Okay, so let's move Barbara up here. And she's public speaker. And this is Sharon. Sharon! And you're what? Hairdresser, probably? Yeah. Yeah. And so then this would be moved up to here. Okay. Cricket. Oh, wait, there's still more to read about this. I gotta fix this first. We gotta fix this first. We're fixing things. Alright? Or fix Elixir. So we have Tony Mark Cricket. Cricket. Oldest Tony. Oldest Anthony. I'm gonna say it's Anthony, maybe. Sure and Stick has 2 listed accomplishments. He's the oldest and he's a straight-A student. Mark, on the other hand, has multiple baseball accomplishments listed. Apparently his Little League team is nationally recognized. Cricket York. Cricket York. Actress on a local television show. Okay, let me... Are we thinking all these are going to be Smiths, then? And why is your last name York? I would assume your name just changed. Although, does Cricket York being the youngest put her over here because of how this is weirdly built? Like you had 2 kids and then... No, you know what this... Now the tree... Maybe the diagram is starting to make sense. Maybe this is a kid you had after a second marriage. After Andrew Smith, you have 2 kids. Dies. Remarry. Have a kid. Cricket York. Okay. Alright. We're starting to make sense of the diagram now. Move these over. Anthony. Mark. Smith. Cricket. York. Which would mean your last name is probably York. Alright, how are we feeling about that one? Alright, we got more to read. I'm gonna go get some water. I've been overdue for getting some water. Think about how we feel about that placement. and then we're going to continue reading about Cricket York or whatever, and then we're going to search a periodical probably for Cricket York because she's an actress, and she seems maybe famous. So we got all that. But we need a picture of Sherry still. I don't know how to get a picture of Sherry. Where's a picture of Sherry, huh? And a picture of Sherry, huh? Alright, I'll be back. I'm back. I thought I had muted myself. Was I not mute that whole time? Did I say anything embarrassing? Did I give out all the world secrets? All of my secrets? Could I be heard getting myself some water or going to the restroom? Now I'm actually concerned. I'm like, did I like talk to myself while I was getting up? I thought I hit mute. Oh well. Okay. So what are we doing here? Cricket York is near the end and has an entire section dedicated to her. She's an actress on a local television show called Library. And the reason Sherry relocated from Miami to Orlando, Sherry, in addition to being hireable to come do your due, is a style for the show. Passage also mentioned that her agent recommended they change her last name to York since it was easier to pronounce. The rest of the section describes how she got the part, but it seems unimportant for your search. Wait, wasn't there a different name that we had seen? I'm gonna find it. Couldn't I just maybe... Let me see something. This one. I saw that name somewhere. I vaguely remember when we were scrolling in something. Let me make sure there's not something similar to that. It was in some article or something we had found. And now it would make sense if she named this and then it's talking about... Library is a children's show filmed at a studio in Orlando, Florida. Been on the air since '91. In the show, multiple adults and children interact with different animal puppets in a small town called Library. Unlike some other popular shows involving non-human performers, this one isn't funded by the public. Instead, it's paid for by donations from businesses related to education. Oh. This includes textbook manufacturers like Corithmetic, tutoring companies such as Educate to You, and a few well-known publishers of picture books. From what you can find, it's syndicated in a few markets across the southern United States and New Hampshire for some reason. Like most other children's entertainment, many of those that grow up with it tend to have fond memories. That works in your favor because the show has been documented by a few fan sites. There's even a library web ring that only has 3 entries. You click through the sites in the ring and find that Cricket York joined the cast in 1987 at the age of 5. Still lists as a current cast member. A picture of Cricket from one of our first episodes has been added to evidence. Okay, I'm just curious here. Let me... Math textbook... Oh my god, that's more than I thought. Math textbook publishing company. They were in the news last year when a primetime news program did a full comparison of their 4th edition textbooks from 96 and their 5th edition from 98. Schools were complaining that the 2 editions seem remarkably similar, yet Corithmetic, I should be saying it like Corithmetic, was charging almost double for the newer edition than they had for the previous one. News programs announced that between the 2 books, there were only 16 total changes. The most noticeable, I would do the textbook industry, man. A racket. I've always been saying this. The most noticeable was that the cover was changed from a picture of a water droplet creating concentric rings on a lake to a close-up of a feather. The other 15 were all instances of changing 4th to 5th. This even led to a geometry problem where the book asks students to calculate the 5th side of a rectangle. Nobody associated with arithmetic seems to be related to your search. Dang. But that's funny. Oh shit. We're getting a thing. Educate to You is a tutoring service. They have a deal with Library and feature some of the actors in the show and pictures on the website. According to the site, they actually provide tutoring for all the actors and actresses on the show to accommodate their shooting schedules. Included is Cricket York, who has seen a photo labeled Cricket, and her brother is ready to learn from one of our talented tutors. You don't find much else about Educate to You, except for that there seems to be a small subsection of library fans who are deeply unsettled by the company's logo, which would appear after the credits on each episode. One writes, I was terrified of the little girl in the Educate to You logo. She looked like some kind of demon doll, and I'd race the TV every day to switch the dial before her creepy laugh came on. I gotta see this dial or this logo, right? That's not what it is. It's Cricket and Pooftail. It's a promotional shot of Cricket York and the puppet Pooftail from '97 when she was on a show called Library. According to the site you found it on, the theme of this episode tackled why some people needed glasses. To see better. Duh. This is an advertisement for a private tutor company called Educate to You. It is labeled Cricket and her brothers. Ready to learn from one of our talented tutors. Great. This is what I want. This is what I need. So then... Why do we have... Then who are... I'm trying to think... Who is this guy? We gotta... Maybe I'm overthinking the... That's gotta be... The second... Wait a second. Wait. Hold up. We're holding. Okay. Okay. Let's establish. I can't put in, but I think that this is this, right? I think that's what's going on here. So then... Who is this guy? Who is this man? Why... Who is that other part of the wedding party? Who are you? Who the hell is this? Because you're not putting that, like, here. That makes no sense. Unless... No. Because it's... No. Right? Unless it's some fucked up situation. Maybe it's a fucked up situation. If your husband dies, and then, like, you marry someone else that was in the wedding party, potentially? Because you would know them, potentially. I'll stick with what I know. Sticking with what I know. Older. I mean, their whole thing is, so she joined the cast in 97 at 5, so she's still a kid. I would assume the others are still kids too, especially because the sections still talk about... Oh, there's the name I was... That's the... where... yeah. Okay. Is it just kid? Yeah. Okay.
Hi again.
Hi again.
You probably thought you were done. But it turns out what you're doing here might have some pretty major repercussions on the family tree.
Clark. My name's Clark.
Again. Also, there's something really strange happening. I can't explain it.
Neither of us can.
I'd call it a simple misunderstanding, but it's digging at the pit of my stomach. I just have a feeling. Clark?
Last week, let's just say being the president, sometimes people bring me things.
Just skip to the important part.
Right. One of our janitors brought me some hair she'd found in Ruby Spratt's trash. It was Bonnie Hudson's.
Huh.
Bonnie is Guy's sister. She'd sent us her hair to test potential Roottrees, since her DNA is closest to Guy's. But Ruby threw it out, and I wasn't sure why she would have done that. Especially right before we began testing the tree you provided. When I asked, she told me she thought the samples needed to be fresh every time they did a test.
It seems really odd. Ruby was the one who convinced us to do DNA testing.
Aw,
in
that
the first
Ruby.
place. She seemed so knowledgeable. I don't like it. You've done more of a deep dive on these people than anybody else has. Clark will keep a closer eye on the DNA tests from now on. You have an eye for anomalies. We need you to find the smoking guns.
We need you.
If there's anyone you're 100% positive can't be a Roottree.
Or any you've got definitive evidence are Roottrees.
Wait, what?
Then we might be able to catch Ruby in a lie.
Oh. Oh. Well, let me at least put... I guess this is this person. I don't have the name, but... Can I duck just for this name? I wanted this. God. Alright, what does this little section say? Inconsistencies. Filling in this person is optional. Now it's this time to review all possible root trees and input your deductions. You'll then be able to end your search and reveal the truth. You have 13 possible root trees left to identify. What? I don't even know what any of that means. I don't know what that means. Okay, so it wants me to mark off. I mean... how the hell am I gonna do this? Bruh, I don't know. After putting together a tree of potential new root trees, Clark and Sam appeared at your door together. According to Clark, Ruby Spratt, the company's lawyer, was caught throwing away the DNA samples from Bonnie Hudson. These were intended to be used to test new potential root trees. Something doesn't sit right, Sam. Two of them ask for your help. They're hoping that with your evidence and understanding of the family tree, you could verify which people in the dotted boxes are almost certainly legitimate root trees, very unlikely to be legitimate root trees, and which of them are too ambiguous to make a decision one way or the other. How do I do that? I mean, additionally, with a suspicion on Ruby Spratt, it's possible that some of her behaviors in the past have also been cast into doubt. A new section of a tree has been added for you to fill in. How? 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 Who? How? Also, I want this name. Okay, let me try to, I'm hoping if I click the duck, this only helps me get this. That's not pointing me towards this thing. I guess I'm just not gonna find this guy's name. Let me see if I can... Oh, Pete. Was her late husband's college roommate. Wait. Did I just not even... Oh, and that's why he would be in the thing. Oh my god. Oh my god, how embarrassing. That's why he's in the fifth. Okay. We're not panicking. Alright, so it says, I think you click on each one, it has a list of relevant info. Okay, so how does this gameplay-wise work, though? Is it gonna tell me? Like... Oh, this is interesting, at least. I like this. Found 4 of 4. So I found all of the smoking guns based on this thing. So Elias, please remember Sam. I don't know families. Okay, remember. Yeah, okay. So it's... So what happens if I get these wrong? Like, am I basically taking a test and then at the end when I hit submit, it's gonna be like, you got this many right and this many wrong? Or will it just, I'm curious if it'll say like, oh, you got at least one wrong, so you go back and then you have to just keep trying. One of those cruel things. Okay, I see what this... That's why he's saying who's Beth, and it was the Ernie. I see. So she was just repeating what she had heard, and the son wouldn't... Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say, based on this... The thing is, how did he know how to sculpt what his mom looked like if he says at some point... Didn't he say at some point he didn't know what his mom looked like? I mean, maybe that's why it's just a random, like... Maybe it's not what she actually looked like kind of thing. That's maybe what it's actually pointing to, now that I think about it. He just made, like, a sculpture for his mom, and then... But that doesn't make it less... So what, I just say, like, oh my god. So, okay. So to me, this would be that he might be a Roottrie, but it's impossible to prove. But is that too much fence sitting? Like, am I not committing to an answer if I do that? Because to me, these don't definitively prove. This says that you can't say it's not a Roottrie. But we don't know that the lady died. She wrote a puff piece for Elias, and she thinks... And then in here, it's like, we think that she was, but... I don't know. Am I gonna just put question marks everywhere? I'm gonna try not to worry about it too much, but like I feel like I'm gonna fuck this up so bad somehow. I mean, again, this one... The unusual circumstances of her second son's adoption. What if I say... But then I say that this one is... Like... I haven't found this clue yet. Oh. See, I say this one's yes. See, wasn't he like, oh, I think I might be a thing? But like this one had this thing, this bit from like the family thing way up here, and they're like, oh, we know that they're probably related, so we'll pay the bail, pull that out. Yeah. I'm going on gut instincts. I have to, I mean, I'm obviously reviewing. I'm going to review our footage here, but... Wow, there's still way more. I forget, was it already definitive that they had already taken a test? Oh, that must mean there might be more music tracks of his that I didn't find. I'm gonna say you know what? Sure. Sure. You know what? Is Christine, right? How am I? I'm so bad at making inferences like this. I don't know. It's like one of those things where it's like, do I trust my gut? Do I read too much into something? The part that always keeps weirding me out is this fucking thing. Sistine Chapel pun. Most people realize a Sistine Chapel pun and assume that's all there is to it, but it's actually secretly named after them, sort of. Which would be like Christine, Sistine. I can't tell if that's like something I'm supposed to read into and it's like such a minor detail. Or if it's relating, if it's somehow... I don't fucking know. Yeah. I'm curious what the duck is trying to say. What does it say? The blurred news time article about the Anonymom seems like a dead end. I bet if you poke around some more, you can dig up a news time article about Anonymom. I'm curious if this is going for more information to help me determine the things, or if it's for that last middle bit. So let me Anonymom. How do I type it? Oh, we already have the, let me see this. Notable events start here. Why does that have a 1 on it? Interesting. Anonymom. Anonymom. That article, where's the blurred one? This one. So the duck was saying, the blurred article seems like dead end. Bet if you poke around some more, you can dig up new information. Right. Your son cares about respecting people's privacy, but that can't be said of everyone. Oh. 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 What if you like picking? Not afraid to expose details that other publications would avoid. Shortly after the announcement that Jane Doe Rootree was not a Rootree, Piketty exposed personal details about the story of Anonymom under the headline Anonymom, the Anonicon. It said Anonymom worked as a manager at a department store in North Carolina, and her daughter's name was Courtney May. It also said that the woman that vouched for her famous cover story, they didn't identify news time, perhaps to avoid being sued, is named Corinne S. They said Anonymom worked as a manager at a department store in North Carolina. Her daughter's name was Courtney May. They also said that the woman that vouched for her famous cover story, they didn't identify news time, perhaps to avoid being sued, is named, and that she had filed for bankruptcy. The article speculates that Anonymom and Corinne were in it together, and even speculates that they might have been lovers. It is not a credible publication. Their information wasn't particularly actionable. Very few people seemed to notice or care. But thanks to the Piketty article, you can now determine an automom's identity using the company records. Daughter's name was Courtney May. How, Duck? How? By combining the information in the Piketty article and the company records, you can piece together Jane Doe Roottrees' real name as well. Okay, wait. So, is it... And her daughter's name was Courtney May. How would she find... Is there a mention of... Corinne Schwartz? Corinne Schwartz. The woman that vouched for her famous cover story. Corinne Schwartz. Corinne? But then the year prior, did they come in together? Beatrice Watts? Beatrice Watts? But how will... By combining the information in the Piketty article and the company records, you can piece together Jane Doe Roottrees' real name as well. They were in it together and even speculated they might have been lovers. Piketty's not credible. I daughter's name was Courtney May. However, you still don't have a picture of her. You'll have to find more information. Thanks, Duck. Maybe she has a presence on the internet? I mean, is this... I mean, by process of elimination, is this just gonna be... presence on the internet? I mean, would it be by this last name though? That's real Hail Mary here. I'm struggling on this one. Spider cert. Wait, did I not? Did I spell it wrong? I tried that. I swear. I might have spelled it wrong. That happens all the time. Courtney May. What did I try? Oh, I'm missing an R. I didn't spell Courtney right. God. Courtney May has a simple website with black text on a white background and a few images. From the view counter, you can tell you're one of the only a few hundred people who visit it. She's not shy about claiming she is Jane Doe Roottrees. Proof she has posted an unobscured cover from the time she was featured on News Time, as well as a different picture of herself that appears to be a wedding photo. The website seems to be created in defense of her mother, who's been the target of public scrutiny. Under the headline, The True Story of Jane Doe Roottrees, courtesy of Courtney May Newton, formerly Watts, Courtney May writes, everyone has everything wrong. My mom approached the Roottrees before Five Piece was ever on the cover of News Time. Nobody at the Roottrees company took us seriously. They only listened to us after we appeared on TV and in magazines. The site has a scanned letter from the Ruby legal group to Courtney May's mother, Beatrice. In very polite legal terms... I don't know if that even belongs. In very polite legal terms, it seems to accuse her of exploiting their name and orders her to leave the Roottrees alone. It's dated from a few weeks before the 5B's article appeared in News Time, and it seems legitimate. Courtney May also discusses her mother's magazine feature in more detail. Do you know how difficult it was to convince anyone to tell her story? My mom didn't want to show her face because everyone in the media was approached assumed she was lying. Because her story was just like 5B's, but my mom's story was first. Mom was advised by Ryan and Cork to tell News Time that seeing 5Piece on the cover was what inspired her to go public. It's the only way News Time would agree to it and help her get on TV, but it's not true. Our story was first. Courtney's defense continues, but much of it seems repetitive and useless. Towards the end of her page, she discusses the DNA test and defends her mother's character. My mom is amazing. She's the nicest woman in the world. She has diabetes and works at a department store, but still managed to help pay for my apartment in the big city so that I could stay with my high school sweetheart. I got a degree in nursing, so I learned about DNA in college, but I'm beginning to think it's all a lie. Mom is 100% confident that there's nobody else who could be the father. Either they did the test wrong or DNA is complete bullshit. She is not a liar. This is the original unobscured cover photo from the News Time feature on Jane Doe Roottrees and her anonymous mother. You found it on Courtney May Courtney May Watts' website. Courtney May and Danny together forever. Courtney and Danny. Okay, so we got like Daniel. Newton. Daniel Newton. Where does that one photo go then? Where is that one photo? Is there? Oh. Wait, is this? Works in a department store? If you work in a department store, what do you... Does it say she... She says, I got a degree in nursing, so I learned about DNA in college, but I'm beginning to think it's all a lie. Either they did the test wrong, or DNA is complete bullshit. I mean... Okay, I work in a department store. I am... retail. Oh, those are right? What does it say? What does the duck say? I have enough information to fill in Jane Root. Oh, I didn't put in the fucking her job. Whoops. What's her job? What does she do right now? Oh, I got a degree in nursing. She's probably a nurse. How do we feel about that, duck? Okay, so now the duck does probably point to, like, yes, no's. Now I need to determine where do I go from here? Do I just, with the evidence I have now at this point, do I just go gut instinct, review what I've got, and then try to lock in and see what happens? Does the game tell me how much I got right, how much I got wrong? Is it, again, I was like curious if it's like one of those situations where it's like, oh, you got at least one wrong, so go back. And then it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep switching, and then ones I'm less confident about. I'm curious how it judges you, basically. But also I'm ready to see the finale to this game somehow. My gut instincts are probably very wrong. I think if anything has been learned throughout this whole playthrough of this game is that pretty much anything I could call myself as a gut instinct thing. These are really the same person? Really? Are you joking me? I know it's a side profile and we're getting, like, obviously this is younger. So I assume duck just points to if you're missing key piece of evidence. And do I really care about digging for... I mean, I guess it depends. Maybe I need to if it... I'm curious about... What is the evidence here? This would have been... Not too early, not too late though, but... Yeah, guy took over here. Is the only thing that potentially here is the flavor development thing? Is that a smoking gun? Okay, I'm gonna say... Might be Roottrees. I'm gonna say no. I'm going to say... I could sit here and hem and haw for hours and hours and hours, and I need to stop myself from potentially trying to do that. Even if I find the little bits of information... I'm either so bad at interpreting things, just in general, that, like, I need to, like... I just need to... I want to see how the game judges me on this. Are these going to be... I think yes. Who have I not identified yet? Where are they? Oh. Where? Or is it saying because I've... No, that's not how it works. I thought maybe that was what it was checking. I don't see where... People in boxes. People in boxes. Boxes? Box. 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 Is there something up here? Weirdly? Oh! Oh! Whoa! Didn't even think of... Oh! Well, I mean... What? You're joking me. I mean... Well, they really throw you a curveball here by sending you back up here and then being like, oh, there's probably some shit you want to probably find. Out of curiosity here. Unremarkable law firm based in North Carolina, named after its senior partners Winston Ryan and Gregory Cork. Firm mostly handles local cases and recently represented Anonymom. Website section about the case included a scan of the DNA test results that proved Jane Doe Rootree was not a Rootree. Sure. That's not what I meant to click. This is a DNA test you got from the website for the law firm Ryan and Cork. Test there was virtually no chance. Anonymous daughter, Courtney May, was a Rootree. A list of DNA from a Jane Doe was tested against the DNA of Bonnie Kellogg. Guy's twin sister, Ryan and Cork, who were representing Anonymom, have confirmed simply sent to the Roottrees was definitely Courtney May's hair. Tests from a company called Denetco. Doctor circled the results and signed the paper. Denetco is a DNA testing company. DNA testing is a relatively new phenomenon that allows scientific laboratories to prove possible family relationship between two people. Fairly cutting edge. Method by which they test samples has only been standard in the last decade. According to their site, responsible for the DNA test proved Felix Fellows was a Rootree. Even used it as an example of how a DNA test looks. They used it to provide some information about the process. If they take a sample in person, they put the name of the person in the test according to their legal ID, which is always why it says David instead of Felix. Because Guy Hudson is dead and there's no known DNA source or Guy, they test Felix's hair versus hair sample for something from the Roottrees that says Jane Doe because it wasn't collected in person, but the Rootree company let them know it's from Bonnie Kellogg, Guy Hudson's sister. That's why it says it's paternal aunt. Left and right sets of numbers are essentially signatures that perfectly match the DNA of the two people in question, nobody else. The way the test works, certain parts of the signature are shared. It's very likely two people are related. As far as you can tell, Denetco is a legitimate company. They don't seem to have any reason to create fake results or hide the truth. According to the website, it's a famous test that proves Felix Hills was a Rootree. They received permission to post as their example. Fucking... Now I'm all up in a tizzy. Am I spelling that name right? I say... Part of me thinks that now, like, that she is telling the truth. Or she is, you know... I don't know. I'm very curious how this game checks all this. I don't know how. I'm going to say... I'm just gonna say... Why... I mean, yeah. Fuck it. Send it. Fuck it. Just tell me I'm the worst. That's fine. Tell me I'm the worst. Tell me I'm the worst. Tell me I'm the worst. Get me, make it so that the Rootree family doesn't contact me ever again, please. I'm out of this family drama. I want them to realize I fucked up so bad that they don't reach out to me for Rootree-ageddon. Whatever they would call the next thing.
Beatrice and Courtney May.
Rootree apocalypse.
Can you swing another test against Bonnie's DNA?
Beatrice and Courtney May. Clark, can you swing another test?
This time I'll be sure to have them verify both samples in person.
What has happened? Stop knocking on my door.
Using the family tree you filled out, as well as DNA tests, we were able to uncover the truth behind all the inconsistencies. Clark's handling the business, but I've come to thank you and fill you in on everything.
What if I if I got everything right somehow? That'd be so funny.
Actually, that's an understatement. It's not every week you discover your family company is being sabotaged by someone they trusted. But that's the kind of time we've been having. Like I said, buckle up.
I'm buckled.
Maybe grab some popcorn. We'll start with Guy Hudson.
Most of it wrong. I mean, if that's true, it's exactly what I called. I said if I was mostly going by the evidence I had and gut instinct, and if I've learned anything throughout my playthrough, is that generally my gut instinct sucks in this game. Absolutely blows, and it was always, I should have gone opposite of gut instinct in most cases. Probably at the finale here as well.
Guy had a frankly ridiculous number of potential children. What shocked me is how many graduated from potential to confirmed. We can even prove he was aware of them. The smoking gun was how he used company money to pay off a lot of women. He hid it with a method inspired by his idol, Elias. 5-piece flavors. The flavors he was paying to research were a ruse. He developed flavors based on the initials of the women he was paying, which was really stupid, considering one of their names started with X.
I got that. I mean...
Let's start with Christine. Guy was paying her under the name Caviar, but there were some other clues. James was born 9 months after Zach's party. Christine was there with Guy, and when she got pregnant, she panicked. Steve stepped up. He even turned it into one of his recipe stories. Not all of Guy's affairs led to offspring. He may have slept with Robin Martin, but she didn't have children, so we'll never know.
Okay.
Also, not every child of Guy's affair partners were his. Robert Garland was born after his parents had already moved to Boston.
Okay. Does this mean I got it right, or does this mean this is just the correct answer? Is this checking my results, or yes or no? Like, did I actually get this one wrong and then this one right? Is that what it's doing? I can't tell. This is the correct answer. But this isn't actually confirming what I did at all. What I did is a nebulous result at this point, right?
Skipping Beatrice for now. Up next is Leng Xin Yu. When Guy showed up in China, she was into America. And Americans. Dare I say redheads, even? When she got pregnant, her father paid key genes to fake IVF. They claimed her sister was unable to conceive, but her sister and Jerry had their own son, Mark. Sonia Alves was soon after. Nia was married at a very young age to a much older husband. She resented him. I don't blame her. They allegedly spent no time together in private. Guy was in Brazil during Christmas 1979. It's the only Christmas not in the records. Flavio was born 9 months later, and like the others, Guy started paying Sonia. Last was Susan Ford, hired to translate for Guy's overseas trips. It's easy to read into Guy's donation to her school, but there's no definitive proof there. She and Guy were witnessed together near the end of his life. Susan's husband was convinced he couldn't be the father of her daughters. Guy, though, paid double. The price of twins.
Okay, so it is showing the ones I did get correct. This has to be the ones I got correct. So I've gotten, because I put question marks on both of these. So this confirms, so every time it's did a red X, I did get it wrong. But all these checks have to be me being right. Which so far then, I'm not too bad. I fucked up one of the brothers, the things, because I put them both as the same thing. I put them both as I think either both yes or both no. And then one of them was what she said. One of them, because of the timing of the moving, one of them was and one of them wasn't, which is crazy. I just put them as a bookend thing, but yeah, I kind of see what it's saying now. Okay.
So, what about 5 Ps? Felix Fellow's mother, Joanna, doesn't have a 5 pieces flavor. On top of that, his story doesn't really add up.
I think it's checks because Guy was paying them. No, but she said that it's impossible to tell. Like, what she was saying right before was that he of course he was paying it, but it's impossible to tell. And she was saying like, oh, well, the husband. That's what I'm interpreting. That right there, she was like, it's impossible to tell if they are or aren't. Obviously, the husband got pissed and thought that wasn't his children, and Guy thought it was because he was paying her. But it wasn't, like, confirmed either way. That's what I understood from that. And it's given both check marks because I put question marks on both of them because it wasn't definitive proof. We'll have to check at the end then, just to see and make sure, but that's what I'm interpreting from this.
His mother already left the company by the time Guy became president, and his lyrics indicate he was born sometime around 1975.
Yeah, I fucked this part up. I know I got this part.
Alone, that wouldn't necessarily prove it. But there are some suspicious connections between Felix and the company's current lawyer, Ruby Spratt.
Yes.
They both grew up in Portland, in foster care, and according to the local paper, they definitely knew one another. Ruby was the one who approached the Roottrees to begin with. It was all a setup. Ruby and Felix saw my book's challenge to the Clancet Trust as an opportunity. His mother really had worked for Roottree, and Ruby was a respected lawyer. She exploited my family's greed, worked her way into control of the trust, and ensured Felix got a piece. But they made some mistakes along the way. If you look at the 2 DNA tests that Ruby handled, they were both supposedly tested against Bonnie Hudson. But the 2 signatures that should both represent Bonnie don't match. After Clark and I confronted her, Ruby lawyered up. Ironic, I know. We suspect Ruby had Donatico test Felix against his own mother's DNA. He had a hairbrush of hers. They sent the female sample in remotely. On the second test, Bonnie's sample was tested locally, but Courtney May's was not. Ruby's been throwing away samples. We think she sent her own hair instead of Courtney May's, but it could have been anyone's. Ruby and Felix were in cahoots. As for why, they were both advocates of wealth redistribution. A noble effort. But once they controlled the family fortune, they became just as greedy as the worst members of my family. The money corrupted them. They were so eager to personally wield the wealth for their own cause that they sabotaged any other claims.
Yeah, I got this wrong. Because I said yes, because I was like, oh, it's like, yeah.
That finally brings us to Anonymom, aka Beatrice Watts. Her tales of
I bet I got
Guy's
this wrong,
parties and
too.
payoffs were true. She even approached Ruby before 5Ps was on news time.
This will be this will be a test because I said no to them, and if it gives it a check mark, but I got it wrong, then that wouldn't make sense. So it would be if she starts saying, "Oh, she is a child for sure, definitively," and it puts a check, then that wouldn't make sense. It would put, or if it put an X, it wouldn't make sense. If you know what I'm
Ruby
saying.
used Beatrice's truths to make Felix's lies feel real, then ruined the DNA test so that Beatrice looked phony in the public court of opinion.
Okay.
I feel worst for her in all of this.
I did put no, right, on the other one? On that?
Well,
I don't know now.
Felix
Now I don't know.
there were
Now
some
I'm confused
other
what I put.
potential new family members as well.
I did put no. Right. That's what I thought. But then why on the the one for the Susan Ford's kids, her words were specifically like there was no way to tell. I thought she said there was no way to tell. I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting everything. Much like most of this game.
Miracle Roottrees was less of an open and shut case. That said, it's very likely he had a son with Mary Beth Clementine. Not Stuart. Mary Beth adopted him before she ever set foot in Butler County.
She said they couldn't tell, however, God was paying them. Well then, to me, that's just like bad. In a game where I'm like, when you have 3 options of yes, no, or maybe, like, to me, not only is that faulty wording where it's like, well, wouldn't that then technically be, then, like, it's not a 100% definitive proof, even if he's paying, like, the guy could make a mistake himself. He could be like, oh, I thought that was my child. I'm going to start paying someone. I don't know. Fucking whatever.
That leaves Mark. The timeline fits. He showed up about 9 months after Mary Beth visited Miracle, and the basket baby story is a bit too convenient.
Basket
If
baby.
that's not enough on its own, He was also bailed out by the sister of Edith Roottree, Miracle Jr.'s wife, after she changed her name to win that silly contest. Our best guess is that Mark was told by his mother whose son he was, and used that fact to put some pressure on Miracle Jr. We have no real proof of that, but nothing else really makes sense for why they'd be connected in that way.
Got that. I know I got these right.
Elias's affair was the most ambiguous. Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias to do things he wouldn't have otherwise done, like pressure to include me in the family. My son even mentioned them arguing about someone named Beth. Combined with Gwyneth's lisp, it's possible the name was actually Bess. Unfortunately, all we know about Bess Williams is that she wrote his book and died not long after, leaving her only son an orphan. The timeline fits with Wildcat, but there's no record if she had any other relationship. Honestly, I wouldn't say we had enough evidence either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Elias cheated. Of course, I'm a bit biased. Regardless, we haven't gotten in touch with any of the Williams clan yet. That means we haven't been able to do a DNA test. As Clark mentioned, from here on out, all of our DNA tests will be in person for both parties.
Oh?
Lastly, we have a bit of a curveball. Ron Roottree isn't related to us by blood. Gwyn was definitely pregnant, so it's likely Robbie is. When Ron and Robbie went to visit their mother at the end of her life, something changed. Additionally, there have been a few rumors circling around Ron. RR Productions canceled the Guys Like Us remake due to the director's illness. At the same time, Ron's wife Penelope began doing benefits for Huntington's disease, stating that she had become familiar with it. Huntington's is the same disease that Gwyn's former co-star Leslie Florence had. It's passed from parent to child. It can't skip a generation. Because Gwyn and Wild Bill didn't have Huntington's, and Ron seems to, it's impossible Gwyn was his mother. I recently confirmed all this with Ron. At the end of her life, Gwyn told Ron the story. Leslie and Bill had an affair the same year Leslie learned she had Huntington's. Leslie got pregnant. Leslie wasn't likely to survive to see her child grow up. And even if she did, she didn't want to be a burden. She begged Gwyn and Wild Bill to adopt her child. Gwyn did. Mere weeks after she found out she was having her own son, she also took in Ron. Wild Bill was a problem. Unreliable and a serial adulterer. Gwyn divorced him and never saw him again. Gwyn had already told Starlet she was pregnant, so it never really made waves when people saw her with a child in Paris. There was gossip during her divorce when she was discovered to be pregnant again. In actuality, it was the final months of her only pregnancy. To lay low, she stayed in Paris long enough that even her own family never had reason to question the timeline. It's one heck of a story, and frankly, nobody could be expected to piece the timeline together. Not with what few mentions of Gwyn's past have survived. But the Huntingtons itself? That's proof. Ron suing Robbie to remove him from the Clancid Trust was a huge moment in my story, and a major catalyst for this entire investigation. Finding out that it's been pretty much backwards this whole time has been a bit surreal. So that's where we're at. Looking over the information you sent us was useful.
Yeah, I was totally helpful, Sam. Of course.
Without your tree, I'm not sure we would have
I was
ever
the best.
discovered Ruby. All this information, this entire story. It's a lot, in more ways than one. Some of it has the potential to destroy marriages and ruin relationships. We're handling it all very, very carefully. But we couldn't have gotten here without you. And with that, I guess our tale has finally, truly come to an end. What a strange one it was. No words can express how grateful I am to you for untangling this mess. Honestly, I've had enough of my family's eccentricities and scandals for one lifetime. I imagine you have as well.
Ah, you know it, lady.
And if not, well, there's always Elias's and Gwyneth's brothers and sisters.
No.
Attention.
Yeah.
This is 5-Piece coming at you from the real world. You know, the place you ain't ever lived in.
You say money is the root of all your problems.
There's some banger lines in this song.
Hypocrites sitting back in your massive estates, built from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it based on your family's creations. Yo, but look at here, sonny, don't you come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick and her two dads. My pappy's classic trust should keep you
And her
away.
two dads.
Disturbing, catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known hurt, but blurts out these claims that somehow we're sinners cause we didn't earn it. When all of your worth it came free with your name, you expect me to treat your lectures on greed as some expert creed from he without blame. But instead, I turn my other cheeks and spread them. When you give me a kiss, you'll know just where to aim.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil.
It is done. We did it. It wouldn't have been able to be done. Shout out with the power of the rubber duck. These last two streams, honestly. I can't even lie. But it's fine. I feel content. And that's what really matters.
Monopoly is toppling. When I knock, have G's. Top off my pockets, please. Cause the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he wants, right? For you to live in poverty. And if you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune, that's unfortunate. I guess I'm gonna have to take my portion. And I'll do it all legally. Class action, courtroom, decorum. I'm way past your fancy ass dormant.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Bring the choir in.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Yeah.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
This game, it's complicated.
Just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of
It's definitely smart. It's definitely clever. It's definitely very cool. And it, at its best, makes you feel super smart. Just like Oberdin when things lock in and you're like, oh yes, I am on top of the world. I'm the best, whatever. Like, it definitely has that. It definitely has that definitely is there, just like Oberdin. I've said it multiple times throughout the playthrough. There's something in the search function of things. It's much more realistic as far as searching things compared to like game like I kept saying, like Her Story or something, or Telling Lies, where it's like you have a database and you can just search a word and it makes it easier to find stuff that you want to find. Is it just gonna hang on a black screen? But so there's something fun about poring over different parts of a computer interface to like find stuff. But I did, for whatever reason, have a bit of frustrations in like that kind of like that interface. Not even like it's difficult or anything, and not like it's presented badly or anything. But just like there's something that searching for stuff and clues and hints and poring over notes and everything, it's somehow different in this for me compared to... Oh. That's funny. That spooked me, but that was funny. As now I got interrupted by the thing. But there's something different that didn't work exactly as probably it wanted to intend upon me for some of the searching stuff. I don't know. It's hard for me to describe in words. But then as I kept saying, like, I think in general, not only do I think it was a better game, but I think there's something about, like, in Obra Dinn, which this was probably what most people would probably compare to something. I just think the physical nature of Obra Dinn worked out just a lot more better. You're observing, like, context clues and obviously a physical space versus I'm looking and searching a bunch of things that may or may not return results that I need, and then I'm having to follow, like, a trail thing of, like, notes from here to here to here. And then there's a bit more, there even if it's slightly, something more like Obra Dinn was so good about, okay, I'm not having to make, like, giant leaps or assumptions. And in this game, both in Roottrees Mania more, but even I think in the base game slightly, there was, like, excuse me, there were times where, like, you had to make slightly bigger leaps. And that's why I think Obra Dinn was so good, is that it was so solid in the information and evidence it was presenting you. And so for that, I thought it was a little tighter of an experience and like a sleuthing kind of like experience. Did I end up finishing Transistor yesterday? I did. Yeah. It was a Type 2 stream game. It had a very cool ending. For as much as me and you had talked about, like, how, like, combat was not, you know, hitting at me, like, it had an impactful ending, which was cool to see finally now after so many years after playing it before. I'm harping again. You'll probably enjoy Golden Idol a lot more. Yeah, I should probably get around to playing Golden Idol, shouldn't I? I'm making my way through these games. Roottrees from last year was definitely something that I wanted to make sure I hit, especially with it just being last year and stuff. And again, I don't think it was bad. A lot of people that I trust were like, this is a dope-ass game and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, I'll get to it. I want to get to it. I'll be curious to check out what the incident at Galley House is. I assume that's their next game. I'd be curious to see how different or not different this is that compared to this, but and then at the end of the day, a complaint that probably people could levy at me is maybe I'm not the target smart person enough to be pouring over and, you know, linking stuff. Like I said, I think I did pretty good on the first one. As we talked, like, Roottrees Mania, probably a bit harder of an experience, but, like, I think I did at least decent on the first chunk, the first mystery, and I still felt really good solving all that stuff. And to the game's credit, I think even though I used the duck thing, it was cool to at least see the duck hint system work in action, because while I was not using it in the first one, I was so curious about how it actually worked. And it does a really good job of being very vague at the beginning, and then, like, pushing you, giving you just the slice push at the beginning, and then if you wanted to go layer, like, it spelled things out more for you. And it was really good at contextually seeing what you had already placed on the board. Like, it was really good at reading of what you actually needed. And even, as we learned, correct if you've placed something you thought was right in a wrong position, a completely wrong position, or just had something swapped, it was able to, like, correct you and let you know that you still didn't have something right there. So that was cool to see. I like that as, like, I'm glad I got to see that as, like, a design aspect, even if it made it so that I wasn't just solving things purely 100% by myself. Because at the end of the day, not only do I like playing and experiencing games, but I also partly like to see how the games actually work on, like, a design level and everything. It's partly why I'm, like, going through, and it's one of the aspects I like to see and everything. So, yeah, I think that was cool. I should get to Golden Idol. I really should. just as much as Roottrees, if not more. I've had people I trust really hype up Golden Idol. I need more time. I need more time. I need more time to play games. I'm about to pivot to full-time video game player. But I'm a secret Rootree as well. No games running right now? Yeah, that's it. We've actually cleared the... Well, technically, I have it listed, so it would be counting, but I'm still... Apparently, allegedly, it's coming soonish. Maybe. I don't have high hopes for it, actually. But the patch for Unbeatable's arcade mode, I'm still really looking out for. Apparently, the problem with that is apparently Unbeatable's like PC is made, PC version is made by the main team, and then like every other port is being handled by like a different team, and so that's why there's inconsistent like the PC version has had multiple patches, or at least a few patches more than. So that's the whole problem there, probably. So I don't know when that's gonna happen or fix. I mentioned yesterday I might have mentioned something big today. Maybe I did, but I don't recall what it was. If there was, if I did say something like that, then I completely forgot. So it must not have been that important, right? I'm trying to think. I'll give it another minute. Let me think. I mentioned yesterday you might mention something big today. Just that I'm gonna die. Yeah, I can't think. Either I don't necessarily want to jump to like you misunderstood me, but either I said something and I didn't mean it like that, or I did mean it like that and I can't remember what it is what I was gonna say. Unfortunate. Sorry about that. It's gonna bug me now too, because I'm like, what could I have possibly meant? Fuck. Shit.